So why wine tourism? So as many of you know, because you host your own guests, your properties, it really creates an emotional connection for all the people who visit you, and it just becomes much more memorable. They experience your story firsthand, and as we know in this industry, we're really storytellers. That's what allows people to remember your brand best. And then they become brand ambassadors. They naturally will speak about your brand more often. They'll post about it. They'll tell their friends and family. And they become lifelong consumers. I mean, I have friends that come back from properties that they visited 10 years ago with a case they're saving that they opened just for special occasions. And that's the moment where they talk about your story to someone else. And it's just so valuable when it's a third-party endorsement to friends and family.
Welcome to the Wine to Wine Vinitaly Business Forum 2025 Chicago edition, where global wine professionals share insights, strategies, and inspiration from this year's conference. Let's dive into today's session and explore the ideas shaping the future of wine.
So, welcome to everybody. I'm Alicia Lini. I'm generation number 4 of a little winery in Emilia-Romagna, where we produce Lambrusco, Metodo Classico, Pinot Noir, and balsamic vinegar. So I introduce Jacqueline Strum for this beautiful subject, about tourism. Also because we noticed in the past 10 years how this grow so much. So we are not surprised, but we were sharing that it's never enough. The information, the curiosity, the attraction, the emotion, and the connection between wine, because we are in the contest. I have to add food, because Stevie is eating now. And the attraction for people that want to create this emotional link. So,
thank you very much. All right, thank you, Alicia. So nice to meet you. And if you haven't tried her wines, they're incredible. And thank you to Stevie for having this incredible event and for asking me to speak. It's a pleasure. So I'm going to jump in. I'm the president and publisher of Wine Enthusiast. And we recently launched a travel division about a year ago. So I want to talk about why and why this time exactly. So why wine tourism? So as many of you know, because you host your own guests, your properties, it really creates an emotional connection for all the people who visit you, and it just becomes much more memorable. They experience your story firsthand, and as we know in this industry, we're really storytellers. That's what allows people to remember your brand best. And then they become brand ambassadors. They naturally will speak about your brand more often. They'll post about it. They'll tell their friends and family. And they become lifelong consumers. I mean, I have friends that come back from properties that they visited 10 years ago with a case they're saving that they opened just for special occasions. And that's the moment where they talk about your story to someone else. And it's just so valuable when it's a third-party endorsement to friends and family. Powerful word of mouth, of course, because while we hold a lot of sway as editors, hearing something from someone you know is just the most ringing endorsement to really get someone to convert and consider you. And then, of course, the most important of all is category inspiration. In English, we say rising tides lift all ships. So the more folks that can travel to wine country, the more engagement and interest we're going to have in this region, these regions in general, and wine in general. So why right now? You've probably heard this before, but the millennials are the experience generation for a few reasons. Some of them are cultural, but a lot of it is social media driven. And then Gen Z as well. They really prioritize authentic, immersive travel with experts. And wineries are just ideal for storytelling. They're ideal for social media, which is the other big benefit of these visits. They start posting about them on Instagram, TikTok. It just creates a whole new marketing channel for you to be able to really reach a whole new audience. And then the dollar goes further. Of course, right now, the dollar is a little softer than usual, but I will tell you a trip to Napa, not to rag on Napa, sorry, Kristen, but Napa has gotten so expensive that including a flight to Italy and all the travel to the regions, it might still cost the same or less than one trip to Napa Valley. And I love Napa Valley, I go often, but it's gotten very expensive. And America is obsessed with Italy. Americans still, it's arguably the most popular food group in the United States, is Italian food. And domestic tourism is on a slight decline right now for so many reasons, but California especially is speaking about this the loudest. So it's a really great opportunity for international tourism, and Italy is the first choice for many. I think I recently read a study that France and Italy are the number 1 and 2 king and queen of international tourism for wine travel. So why our audience? Why did we do this when so many people could start up a tourism company? We have the power of the largest first-party database in the United States in the wine industry. So what does that mean? So we have a list of 1.3 million emails of people who have opted in, selected to hear from us personally, as opposed to a carryover from another data provider, which is what a lot of publishers use today. You may not know this. Who in here knows that we have a catalog, a commerce division? Yeah? A couple of you? Okay, thank you. So that business is actually our original business. It's a 9-figure business where people are buying wine corkscrews, glassware, storage, and because of that, they're opting in to give us all of their information, and we know that they're engaged with us for the future. So we're able to sell them multiple things beyond just the actual wine storage and accessories you know us for. And travel is one of their number 1 investments outside of their home, which we already are inside of. They're the number 1 in travel intent and spend in our competitive set. They spend $16 billion in annual travel spend as a collective annually. And year over year, they're continuing to grow and expand on that spend. And lastly, of course, most important to this room, almost everybody has a passport, 95% passport ownership, which is required to go to Italy, and apparently to come to Chicago if you don't have a real ID like me. Wine Enthusiast Travel Division, when we launched in July 2024, we created the first tasting directory digital product, essentially. We realized there was this white space because when you're looking for a restaurant in the United States, especially, you'll go to Eater, Yelp. In France, you have La Fourchette, I think it is, a few other options. You land somewhere, you look up a few restaurants. There's a lot of ways to get editorial guidance on where to go. There is no agnostic way, away from user-generated content, to look up tasting room directories to visit. And we realized this was a big opportunity for us. So we worked with Talk. Has anyone heard of them? They're like a Resi competitor, to build out a platform called the Tasting Room Directory where you can land somewhere and look up reservations to book on your own. And this we launched to all of our readers. We have 6 million in our brand footprint of purchasing power. And Italy is one of our ideal partners in most visited sections of the site. And we really wanted to cut through the clutter because I'm sure for everyone, you're the one that knows the most about wine in your friend group. Your friends probably just ask you where to go. But we want to empower consumers with the tools to do this on their own. And so that's where this directory really came into place. The Tasting Room Directory now has 250 partnered listings, which are folks that helped us enrich their pages, over 1,000 tasting room listings overall. We integrate our ratings and reviews so you can look up quality and style before you visit. And we created customizable features with dynamic filters so you can really zone in on what you're looking for. And this is the first version of this. I think historically it was essentially TripAdvisor. You land somewhere and you look at some user-generated reviews, but other than that, there was not a way to explore when you're on your own. Essentially, you just had to ask a friend. And by giving people these tools, we're allowing them more fluidity when they go visit wine country to really feel like they know what to do next. We created customizable search features, and user-friendly Google Maps are integrated as well, so you can always find where you're going in wine country. And seamless booking through Talk, but if you don't have Talk, we work with our partners to make it conversion-friendly as well. But what's really interesting about this, I think, is when you go to Napa, Sonoma, they have some of their own websites because they've been so commercialized in the way that they do things, because Americans are very good at that. But when people go to Italy, they don't know where to go next because there haven't been these organized digital platforms for them. And I think this is a great first step to get people to feel more confident to really visit international wine regions. And then there's our newest company launched in March called Cork+Compass Travel. And it's essentially a separate division of the company that is run with our wine critics from our tasting panel. AC did a presentation about it this morning, which was beautiful. We have 20 critics on our tasting panel who are the absolute experts in their wine regions. So we did a test run with Tuscany, run by Danielle Caligari, our Tuscany critic, if you may be familiar. And Anna Cristina Cabrales herself is doing one in Burgundy this fall as well, who tastes and scores Burgundy. And I'll be candid with you, we also tested a Sonoma one, and it didn't work out this time. And I think that's because there's such an interest in international travel, and that's the gap that needs to be filled. There are a lot of resources when you land in Sonoma or Napa to help you build a trip, and there are not as many internationally, and we wanted to give people an authoritative option like this. So when we launched in March, we were nervous because we didn't have a lot of time to sell the trips, and they both are fully sold out. So AC is hosting one in a couple of weeks, Danielle 2 weeks before that, actually this month. And because of that success, we are launching 4 next year, 2 to Tuscany, 1 to Burgundy, 1 to Bordeaux, and we plan to continue to expand on this category. It's just been a really exciting new venture. And I think what it really hits on is that need for niche expertise, subject matter expertise, and putting your trust in that person, because it's not cheap. You know, when you travel, it's a luxury good. So if you're going to spend that much money, you want to make sure you're working with someone that you believe knows the place best. And I think we've tapped into that here. Each trip has 25 people on it, so they're group tours, which we thought might not work because it's a luxury user, but people were still interested, still engaged. And I think this is going to be a big growth area for us and a place where we're looking for more partners. The consumer trips range between $7,000 to $8,000 per person. It includes everything except the flight. So that includes hotels, meals, transportation, everything. It's almost a full week, including travel about a week. It's been quite helpful for us as a new endeavor because essentially, as I mentioned, we sell wine fridges. It's our most important product that we sell on our other business. And one wine fridge costs almost the same as one of these trips. So if you're in the bracket where you can purchase a really high-end wine fridge, you're probably in the same bracket of purchasing another thing. And a wine fridge is not a consumable good. You don't run out of it, or you shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't be breaking or anything. Otherwise, you have to give me a call. But frankly, if you can afford something like that, you can go on these tours. So we just have this really captured audience. Some of you work with us as advertising partners, so you know that's why they're a great marketing opportunity. But that's why this made so much sense. So what's next for us for the tasting room directory? We're going to continue to expand. You can see a couple of our Italian friends over here and their featured properties. Ferrari Trento, Cabellani, and Capo. And we're continuing to seek partners to satisfy our high-demand wine-curious audience. And I just think this is going to be one of the best partnerships we have for the next few years for growth. It's currently our second most visited page on our website, I think after the homepage. So clearly people are thirsty for that information. And it's just been a really wonderful new project to engage with wineries that we may not have been able to talk to before. Cork+Compass private travel is going to be our next endeavor. Like I mentioned, 25 people. That might be too many for you if you don't want to be surrounded by people you don't know as well. So that's going to be our next big thing next year, is trying to figure out a luxury option, a luxury version of this experience. And then finally, one that's not official yet, but in the works, is we're actually talking to Airbnb because we feel like they have that captured younger consumer. They have this new division called Originals, where they work with really famous tour guides, whatever that means to you, including things like going out for dinner with Conan O'Brien or working out with Megan Thee Stallion, if you've heard of her. So those are the kinds of things they're doing, where they're having like a really well-known tour guide create experiences, and we're drafting a few of those coming up next year. I know they're pretty focused in the US, but I think for Italy as well, it's going to be a big growth area for us. So I think that this is really the best way to get the next generation engaged, especially with something affordable like through Airbnb or even through the tasting room directory. We just want to make this category more accessible, and tourism, I think, can do that because it's all about having these experiences. So that's kind of a quick walkthrough of our new division, but I'd love to talk about it more if anyone wants to discuss what they're planning to do. I feel like everybody I speak to at Vinitaly has a new, incredible experience that I feel like only I'm hearing about, and I want my friends to know about truffle hunting in Tuscany and drinking rosé in the pool, and I just feel like there's so much to discover that needs to be unearthed for this next generation of wine consumers. So yeah.
Amazing, because I saw from the other side, in being a wine producer, Emilia-Romagna is probably one of the land that is not historical like Tuscany or Veneto. So we are growing with the tourism. And I saw many times, for next week, we have 60 people, 3, 4, 10, 5, little group, big group, but they sometimes are lost. are alone. They are not guided. They are, alone. They try to get some information. I remember when also Stevie came with his brother and his sister, but, we are connected. Consider who doesn't have any connection. So to who, how, where? All the information are in our phone, but it's not easy to create the accessibility and this organization. So many compliments. So, yeah.
I really appreciate what you were saying about how food can be an entry point for travel. Italy obviously does that better than almost anybody else. So using we were talking about Parmesan and Mortadella and all those beautiful foods that people don't even realize the provenance is Emilia-Romagna, and using that to bring people in.
The Emilia-Romagna is the land of Pavarotti, Lamborghini, Maserati, Ferrari, so everybody comes also for other attraction, but definitely is the land of Parmigiano Reggiano, tortellini, tagliatelle, lasagna, gnocco fritto, culatello, mortadella. Yeah, I can stop. So the curiosity and the attraction is to live these vibes 360 degree. You cannot have a glass of Lambrusco without a plate of mortadella. And when you are there, you want to know how mortadella is produced, how a Parmigiano Reggiano is made, where, which the differences between an aged Parmigiano Reggiano or not aged. So it's going to be, the future, I think, and the present as well. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, are there any questions about how this works or what everybody else is working on together in terms of visitation and tourism in Italy? Okay.
I think that in this difficult moment for the wine business, this connection is going to help and elevate and encourage more the match between food and wine, territory, and we said emotional connection, but is all about that. Yeah.
For Cork+Compass, I'm not sure, but I can tell you the median age for Wine Enthusiast audience is 41. So it's probably a wide range. I think they might be a little older for Cork+Compass just because of the price tag, frankly, and having the free time and flexibility in their schedule. But for the audience of wine enthusiasts, it's younger. It's like an elder millennial, if you will, is the median age. So, yeah.
So I have a question, actually. He asked me, then I'm going to ask you. The catalog business, your products are coming from like China, like the fridges.
Sometimes, not all of them. But
Not
yes.
all of them. And how has that been affected in terms of sales?
Oh, do you mean tariffs?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, so our two biggest sellers are sellers with an S. Eurocov, we're the exclusive retailer of Eurocov in the United States, which is a French-made and produced product that many of you may be familiar with. They're kind of the gold standard, and they cost the same as one of these trips on the low end. And then we manufacture our own goods in China for the wine fridges. Vino View is our most popular product, and those we manufacture there. And yeah, the tariffs have been very challenging. So it's been similar to the conversation I heard yesterday where it's either like splitting it with your manufacturer or changing your pricing structure. We currently had enough inventory to maintain our price for some time, and we're doing our best to maintain that. But depending on who you work with, we have the same problems as many folks in this room where we work with Costco, and so you have to really be extremely competitive on pricing, and that changes the dynamic of how we structure our elasticity. So, but we also manufacture furniture in India, in Italy, glassware in Eastern Europe, so everything is tariffed, everything has been a challenge. Yeah, it eats into our margin, just like everyone else. Any other questions about the catalog?
No, I think the point is it's worse. Wine tariffs are bad.
Sure.
But wine tariffs from Italy to the States are not quite as bad as stuff from China or indeed India, or maybe you're doing stuff in Brazil, I don't know. But any of those sort of countries are particularly hit.
Yes. Yeah, China has been extremely challenging. At least we've been through this before. I think that's the only thing I will say is it's not the first time this has happened, so we have some practiced language on how to handle it. They've just never been this big and this challenging.
You said the average age of Wine Enthusiast readers is 41?
Correct.
So how has that changed over the last decade, say, or over period?
It's gotten a little bit younger because of our presence on social media, which has been enormous for us, especially Instagram. I think we're probably the most followed on Instagram of our competitive set. And TikTok has been big for us too, which is a question mark for a lot of people because it's very difficult to figure out how to navigate not getting kicked off as an alcohol brand. But we've been doing okay on there. I really think video is one of the most powerful tools that we have. We have an entire video department that we built back in 2020, and that has helped us really kind of make our content more youthful, more shareable, and just I think, like endlessly more usable. And that's revolutionized both our catalog division in terms of how we market ourselves and our media division and how we teach people about wine. Infographics has been one of our favorite runaway success stories. We did one that was pairing sparkling wine and potato chips, and it went viral on TikTok specifically. And everyone who knows TikTok is always 2 weeks before Instagram, so then it was viral on Instagram eventually. So anything that has that like shareable, snackable virality that's really accessible, we were able to do on social media, and I think that's helped bring our age down. And that age is inclusive of our website audience. It's not just our print audience, because our print audience is slightly more of a, I think of it as like an advanced channel. It's not everybody's cup of tea. If you're just learning the difference between Pinot Noir and Pinot Grigio, you probably don't subscribe to a print magazine about wine. But if you're a collector or you're in the trade, it's going to be a big kind of piece of new information for you every month. So, yeah.
I've got a question about the tourism business. I'm just curious. I know you haven't done a lot of these tours yet or any, but I'm curious. You have these really well-versed critics leading these. And I'm curious if you've talked about how much of the trip is sort of geared towards education. Do you have any sense when people are signing up for this, whether they're looking for an immersive educational experience, or whether they're kind of looking for more the Italian lifestyle experience, and maybe there's going to be some of each, and you're going to like want to gear it a little differently to each different customer. So I'm curious how you've thought about that.
Sure. So actually, before we launched this entire side of the business, we did a survey to our entire email list. We got about 5,000 responses, and we asked them questions like that. How much are you willing to pay? Where do you want to go? What are you looking for? And the price range was around what we ended up setting this price at. No surprise, $8,000-ish for that amount of days. Italy was top of the list along with the typical players, Bordeaux, Burgundy. But one of the things that they said was they wanted a combination of extremely famous properties and hidden gems. And they wanted an experience that felt like nobody else could do it, something exclusive to them. I think that's why you would use someone like AC, who has exclusive access to, it seems like, every restaurant on the planet at this point. So if you go to Champagne or Burgundy with AC, she's going to let you into that owner's cellar, and you're going to taste a bottle of wine that he hasn't opened yet because he picked it on his son's birth year, like something that cannot be replicated. And that's the access that you get with a wine critic. Someone who's scoring 2,000 wines a year holds a lot of power and a lot of sway in these properties. So they're going to do something special for the people they bring in. And that's the thing that kept coming up as something that felt really special and unique. Doesn't mean you only have to do it for one group, but it should feel a little differentiated from another group, I think, from another winery. That's easiest if you look in California. They'll list all their experiences, so you can kind of get some ideas from them, but doing something just a touch different. My favorite, speaking of California, is you can take ATVs around one of the vineyards at Hess, and that's just something I hadn't seen before and seemed really fun. And now those are booked out way in advance. So it's not that you can't replicate it. I think you just want it to feel special and exclusive to that property so they can brag about it to their friends on social media.
I would just want to add something that when people are welcome in my winery, I don't think the expectation is on the target of that, but what people expect is to get to know the authenticity of the contest. Do you understand? Like, it's not just about educational. You educate people in showing you what is real, what is really there, and what is not fake. And this is already a mechanism that arrives to the heart, to the memories, to the experience of the people. And then, of course, the diversity of Italy really represents how Tuscany is really noble, how Piemonte is austero, how Emilianity can transfer, this genuine energy. And I think that, this is really represent the authenticity of everything.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the authenticity is everything.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.